Or use a method that's really tried and true, pen and paper, if you don't want to do the spreadsheets. Find things that work for you. Don't worry about what everybody else is doing.
I actually sit down and do this on a monthly basis, so I have to budget more than just one time.
Yeah, it's probably a better idea to do it more than just once.
Oh, shoot. Welcome to the Guiding You Forward podcast, presented by Mountain America Credit Union, where we talk about all things financial related. And today's no exception because we're talking about budgeting. And thankfully, Cassandra's with us. Hi, Cass.
Hey there.
And you guys, you're going to want to stick to the end. We're talking about the 50-30-20 rule and why you need it. So hit that notification bell, subscribe to our channel, and Cass, why on earth should we ever budget twice?
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Okay. We've talked about the barriers. We've talked about the frameworks. And now how do we actually get started?
Yeah. This is the part that I feel like most people are familiar with.
Okay.
And so it's really about just remembering the basics, right? Income in minus expenses. And that's really it. There are a couple of tips that we can offer, just knowing to calculate your budget based on your income after taxes. That can be a lot easier than trying to figure out how much is being taken out for things like insurance and taxes and retirement. Another tip that we recommend is that you do this on a monthly basis.
Okay.
So I
actually sit down and do this on a monthly basis, so I have to budget more than just one time.
Yeah, it's probably a better idea to do it more than just once. The reason why we recommend this is just because things are changing all the time, right? Especially in the world that we live in, where you might, see an ad about a subscription that you're interested in, and so reviewing those budgets allow us to check for those things that are changing on a regular basis and make adjustments as we need to.
Okay, awesome. Oh, I was hoping I could just set it and forget it.
I wish. It'd be a lot easier that way.
It sure would, but that's okay, right? Anything worth doing is hard, or there's a quote about that or something
like that.
Okay,
yeah.
Awesome. What tips do you have for us?
Yep. So one of the things that we recommend before you even sit down and write out your budget is to go back in history about 3 months and see how you've been spending your money.
Oh.
The reason why we recommend this is because, again, thinking of James Clear and habits, we don't want you to go and make this beautiful budget that just is completely terrible in application. We really want you to be able to move comfortably into it and make those slow changes over time. So we do recommend that you go back 3 months to just kind of get a feel for what your transactions have been looking at, where you've been spending your money, and then create your budget based on that first.
Okay, awesome. So I'm just actually putting everything into categories and figuring out, okay, this is where my money's actually going.
Yeah.
So after I've done that, what's next?
So once you've done that, then it's time to start to think about what you want your budget to look like going forward.
Okay.
Specifically categorizing first the things that you need. Now, when we think about the things that we need, it's important to not write off, the gym membership that keeps your mental health in check.
Yes.
Many people would perceive that as a want. And in some cases it can be, but for people who, maybe mental health is in their values, that might be something that they perceive as a need, and that should be prioritized in that, along with the obvious things like housing and utilities and groceries and gas. So you want to make sure, as we mentioned earlier, that you're preparing for financial success. You're not setting unrealistic expectations to accommodate situations that are going to happen. It's just a matter of when. Mm-hmm. So again, plan for that success by creating those secondary savings accounts and setting the automatic deposits into them, so that when things like your car maintenance needs to be done, when your home needs repairs, things like that, you're ready to go, and you don't have to worry about coming up with the money or putting it on a credit card to make that happen.
Yeah, I read a statistic somewhere, and I'm sure I'm going to get it wrong, and I don't have the source, but aren't 95% of all statistics made up anyways?
I feel like it might be the case.
But something to the effect of the majority of Americans can't cover an emergency expense of $1,000.
I'm trying to remember the exact statistic. I feel like it was like 60% of Americans can't really cover anything over $400.
Oh, good grief. Okay.
And so again, it can be such an empowering thing when those moments do come up, to be able to just take care of them. And again, it's not an emergency expense. An emergency expense is a little bit different in the financial success context, when you're thinking of an emergency expense, it's more things like, what happens if I lose my job or my hours get cut? What happens if I need to take medical leave and my pay is reduced? Those kinds of things I would perceive more as emergencies and planning for if they happen, as opposed to the things that we know are going to come up.
Christmas is going to
come. Birthdays are going to happen.
Yeah. Okay.
You're going to want to take your family on vacation. So planning for those things as part of your financial success and making sure that they're part of your budget will really help you feel more peace of mind. And I think you'll feel more fulfillment and satisfaction with your money.
I love that. Very, very cool. So tracking it, what do we do? Is it just that dreaded Excel sheet that I've got to put together?
Some people really like the dreaded Excel sheet.
Okay, fair enough.
Other people really enjoy just using their credit card statements, looking through their apps. Many financial institutions offer some budgeting software with their mobile app. So that could be something that you can check into. Like I said, there's Mint. There are plenty of paid apps out there as well as free apps. What I would say is look for one that helps you feel secure. So if you're somebody who doesn't like plugging your bank account information into a third-party application, it might benefit you to work with your financial institution to track that. Or use a method that's really the tried and true pen and paper if you don't want to do the spreadsheets. There are a lot of different options, and some people have even found that they like to do multiple ways. So one of the things that I do is I have I use my credit card for everyday purchases, and that categorizes my expenses, and then I move money from my checking account over to my credit card, so I see it go there. But I also keep pen and paper on hand, so that I know like this is when these transactions are coming out, and which paycheck of the month I'm going to use to pay for this. And so it really it depends on what works for you, and that's what I would say is find things that work for you. Don't worry about what everybody else is doing.
I love that you say that. And it actually reminds me of my mother because she taught us, right? And this is, of course, decades ago. But when you've got your checkbook, you've got your register right there. You just add in what you just spent and subtract it. And you always know how much money you have. Right. And to this day, she's the cute little lady, at Walmart that writes out her check and they hand it right back to her and she puts it in her register and moves on, right? Mm-hmm. But to her, point, we've always told her, Mom, just use your card. Like, what are you doing? And she's like, no, this works for me.
Yep.
Right? And she doesn't care. She doesn't care that so many things can be automated. She's still out there writing checks, but we're like, oh, what are you doing? But it works for her.
Yeah. And that's the thing is it's got to work for you. Otherwise, it's going to be really difficult to stick to.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Question. I've heard the term budget twice. Please don't tell me I got to do this twice every single month.
No, I don't think you do. Really, the reason why we suggest that budget twice is, again, it's the looking back to see where you've been and how you've been over, the past 3 months. And then how do I want to move forward? Okay. So when we're budgeting twice, maybe every few months, maybe once a quarter, you're going through, you're looking at, okay, this was last quarter's budget for this month. In comparison, I might have to make a few adjustments. Maybe you got a pay raise over the past 3 months and you can start to put more money towards savings or towards pay down debt. Maybe there was something that changed where you have an increase in expenses. And so we really want you to not necessarily write down your budget twice, but we do want you to go back and look at how things have been going and how you want them to go moving forward.
Okay. And that's just that time for self-reflection every month that we need to look at that.
Yeah. It's a good opportunity to ask questions like, how have things been going? Do I feel too restricted? Is there a place elsewhere that I could cut so that, if I am feeling restricted in a certain area, could I maybe give that area more money without compromising my other financial goals?
I love that. Okay. So I'm learning a lot about self-reflection today, Cass, when it comes to budgeting. This is awesome. When it comes to monitoring, obviously, we've got to monitor it. We just talked about that until, this certain way of spending becomes a habit. What do you suggest? Like I've heard, I'm a $0 budget person. Every penny has a place. Every dollar has a destination. Is that what we really have to do?
So here's one of the things that I love to say to people is there is no right or wrong way to do money as long as it works for you.
Okay.
So if you are somebody who loves to assign every dollar a job when you get paid, cool. If you are somebody who's like, I like to guesstimate, and I can still meet my obligations and I'm still meeting my financial goals. If you're more comfortable doing that and it's working, cool.
Okay.
There are some specific strategies that you can use. The every dollar budget is an example of one of those strategies. Another strategy that might help people is the 50-30-20.
Okay.
So this is a concept where you budget 50% of your income for needs and then 30% of your income for the wants and 20% for savings.
Okay.
So again, for somebody who maybe doesn't want to track everything really strictly, that might be something that works a little bit better for them.
I love that. I feel like I'm more in that category.
Me too.
50-30-20.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not, yeah, that's awesome. Obviously, when it comes to budgeting, we have to talk about the necessities, the needs versus the wants. Give us your thoughts on that.
Yeah. So, the needs are a given, right? These are the things that are obvious, like our shelter, our food, our means for transportation. Again, thinking about needs for some of us, that Diet Coke every afternoon is good for our mental health. It makes us feel satisfied in the sense of, hey, we're working hard and we deserve something. If it's not compromising your financial goals, then I say go for it. One of the things that you do want to make sure of is that you are spending in a way that aligns, again, going back to your why and who you want to be. So if you're finding yourself going out to eat often, this actually happened to me a few years ago. I was in a master's program and we just didn't have a lot of time to cook. And I graduated and we continued to go out to eat like 3 times a week. And I looked at our account after plugging it into a spending app and I was like, we are spending so much money on going out to eat. We cannot keep doing this. Because what I'd realized is, yes, I value time with my family and going out to eat allows me to have more of that. But I would rather have my kids, when they're grown up, remember the trips that we took and the adventures that we took rather than our trip to the neighborhood restaurant every Tuesday.
Yes.
And so one of the things that I did with that is I actually had a conversation with my kids I said, hey, let's set a spending, let's cut back on our going out to eat and let's try and save money towards a family vacation. And of course we picked Disneyland and they were all about it. They were like, yeah, Disneyland, we want to go. And I said, okay, well, in order to do this, we got to stop going out to eat so much. And my kids are like, they love chicken nuggets and fries, right? And so everywhere we go, they want to eat nuggies and fries. And one of the things that I found is I could really just kind of make what I wanted, even if that was like a bowl of cereal. And I could pop some store-bought chicken nuggets and French fries into the air fryer for 20 minutes. And boom, we had dinner and they were happy. And we had the same, that same sense of reward from going to a drive-through as we did from, having food from the air fryer. And still the flexibility and the time to be together. And in turn, we were able to save that money and work towards our vacation.
I love that example. That is really, really cool. And I feel like sometimes, right, we all just get so caught up in life.
Yeah.
And just the motion of it. And okay, we got to feed the kids. What are we going to do? Oh, go through the drive-through, whatever it is. I will say I had a similar experience, when I took the time to actually go through and look at, okay, where is my money going? And then I was like, oh my gosh, I'm spending how much on lunch every day? Like, I do not value that. Yeah. Like, see you later. I can definitely bring food from home. That is not like I eat lunch by myself anyways. Why on earth am I spending extra funds on this?
Yeah.
And honestly, it was eye-opening to me at how much it was just going out the door, And I love that. So I love the fact that you're saying, hey, don't budget twice, and the fact we've got to sit down and reflect on it. Any other thoughts you have regarding budgeting, how we really set it up for success?
One of the things that I will say is sometimes it is a little bit hard to get started. It can feel really overwhelming, especially if this is something where maybe you've tried and you've struggled in the past. What I would encourage is if you are one of those people and you want some assistance, please reach out. Mountain America has the one-on-one financial coaching, and we have our guides that it's complimentary to sit down and meet with them. So you can just go online to macu.com/guide, and we have a wealth of resources there. We have not only our financial guides, but we also have a printable budget guide if that's something that you want. We list just about everything you can think of in there. And if we haven't thought of it, we've left you space to put it in for yourself. So that's a really great resource. In terms of other things that we have access to, we work with a company called Bonsai, and they're a financial education company.
Okay.
And they have a really great tool for setting up a budget as well. And to access their website, you just go to macu.com/bonsai, BANZAI. And you'll be able to access their wealth of free resources there.
Okay, so back to where we began of me, already giving these money scripts to my children unintentionally. I have hope. I can go to Bonsai and there's resources for me to teach them about money.
Yeah. Bonsai is such an incredible resource, not just for adults, but also for children. Your kiddos can go on and there's a game that's great for children as young as 7. You could probably even play it with the younger kids if you were willing to sit down and go through it with them. It teaches them how to start a business and how to take out a loan and how to repay that and manage their money. And it's just a really cool experience for kids and can kind of help with some of those money scripts that we talked about.
I love that. Awesome. Well, Cass, thank you so much for joining us today. I love that we've talked about not just the specifics, kind of the nuts and bolts about budgeting, but why we feel the way we do about our money, which I think is sometimes the stuff we don't know, we don't pay attention to.
Yeah, absolutely.
So thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for joining us as well. And we will see you all on the next episode of Guiding You Forward.